We're back in the shed, and so are you. If you're listening to this, you may feel like you are outside doing housework like Tim of North Vancouver, or gardening like Lee of Courtney, but no, you're in the shed with us, and who knows how many others. We're all here with a common purpose: kill a little time, have a few laughs, maybe learn a thing or two. Hope you do, because we will. Watch us prove it.
So we lose the dog in a couple weeks.
Yeah?
Hannah's coming down in about a week from now, and
Poor Took, he's going to miss you guys.
oh yeah, he's had a nice little time at our place.
think
The
of all
3
the
walks a
attention.
day, a lot of attention, extra snacks. It seems like every meal Sue holds back a couple pieces of meat. You
Oh,
know,
that's so bad. Sue.
well, I don't know if the meat's bad, really, is it?
It's the whole business of the dog begging at the table.
I think he's pretty good at that stuff. Hannah basically is, she won't put up with it at all, and you'll just stop.
Oh, where was Hannah? In England or something?
So Hannah's been up at Prince George for years now. You know, she got her master's up there. She's been working at a consultancy.
And why do you have Took, though?
Oh, we have Took because she came down about 4 months ago, had to do some stuff, flew to a couple conferences, and so we volunteered to keep him because she headed back to Prince George. Took would have been going to daycare a lot. So now that Hannah's moving to Victoria, she's going to come down and get her new place set up in Victoria, and then once it's all set up, she'll bring Took and the cat. Griffin's had the cat at his place, and Griffin likes the cat. Griffin likes
actually,
having
now
a cat.
that I think of it, you guys are going to miss him too. Just think.
We will miss him for
now.
sure. Like, we'll be so glad to be able to just do errands and not have to think about anything.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he's just a great personality to have around the house.
Yeah,
Just
it's
fun.
like the guys. I miss those little dogs every day, but it is still pleasant to just
Not have to
step
worry.
out of the house.
Yeah.
And I actually have to consciously sort of remind myself still, months later, that I don't have to worry about when I come back.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to go sleep on the street tonight, I can do it, and no little dog is going to be all traumatized.
Yeah, and you went on your trip to France. You didn't have to do any of the logistics for that.
No, but I had to take him to Haley's, right? She had to have him.
Oh, because they were still alive when you went to France?
Boo was.
Oh, okay, Boo was, yeah.
And he went just after I got back. But yeah, I do miss them. And they are, that what you said is exactly right. They're great little personalities just to have around the house.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
They do stuff with you. They work you over for food. They are just there. So now, speaking of dogs that are gone, I now constantly get heart-wrenching social media posts about people whose dogs went.
Oh,
their
because
picture of their aged
Facebook
dog.
figured out that yours
Yeah,
went.
well, not Facebook, but whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm using. Some of them are just great. Like, I watched one today I've seen at least twice before separately posted of some sheepdog. You know, the ones that are really fast, those whippy herding dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Doing one of those obstacle courses. Holy mackerel, that dog is just flying around out. You know when they run up a teeter-totter?
Yeah.
They're supposed to get up towards it, and then it teeters down and they can run off. That dog runs up, and he has to stop and wait while the teeter-totter comes down so he can go again. He's just ripping around. He's just having the greatest time ever.
Yeah.
Man, that's big fun. Really big fun.
They love it, yeah.
So I don't mind that stuff in my feed, but the ones where people have lost pets and their hearts are broken, I don't love it.
Yeah, yesterday in the dog park, we got to the clearing area. It's in a little forested area. In a clearing, there was a Vizsla there, and the Vizsla loved being chased, and Took loves to chase.
Yeah.
So he's 10 years old, and you're going, what's happening here? He's just tearing around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had so much fun.
It is fun. Yeah. Lots of walking. I've been walking, boys. I'm telling you,
Is the shoulder skinny?
It's coming along. Thank you for asking. It is still, like, I'm telling you, dance is remarkable physiotherapy. Because I have not been going to physio. I think I might have relayed my disappointment with the one physio I had recently for this. Disappointment's probably a euphemism. But, I mean, when you get warmed up, it is much better. I will go back to physio shortly because I'm going to have to start building strength. You know, that'll take away a lot of the remaining discomfort. So I will do that. But yeah, it's really happy with it. Still better every single day. But my youngest daughter is going to graduate at the end of this semester.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And get her Bachelor of Science.
Okay. And what's she going to be with her Bachelor of Science?
She is going to be some sort of ecological scientist. So she will do things, I imagine. I've asked a bunch of times. She's told me a bunch of times, and I still make a hash of it. So I'm in solid old man territory here. What'd you say you're doing again? Good old talking the Ruskies? Whatever. She's going to do stuff like a logging company will be looking at a piece of land that they've got a license to log.
Yes.
And they'll need somebody to tell them, do we have to care about that creek in the bottom of that valley?
Well, that's exactly what Hannah does. That's her job.
Oh, well, I think it's the same sort of thing as
good
that.
for her.
Yeah, I hope
Does she know yet where she might go work?
No, she does not. She has applied, I believe, for one job so far, I think.
Because most of that works out in the interior.
Yeah, and I've told her that. She wants to work down here, and I've said, well, I think probably, you need to get comfortable with places like Vanderhoof and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's how Hannah ended up in Prince George for so long. And they like her well enough that they're letting her work in Victoria just completely remotely.
Yeah.
And then if they have projects, she'll fly back up to Prince George and stay in a motel or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, she's doing really well, that girl.
That's great.
Got her head squarely on her shoulders. She's not missing much, but she is, I believe, a bit naive in terms of her optimism for working down here in that field. Because everybody and their dog wants to work in the Lower Mainland, for one thing.
Of course, yeah.
And then you're talking about ecological sciences. Well,
yeah.
Relatively little ecological
Yeah, I would think
science
Vancouver Island might be a good opportunity.
Yeah. I don't know where she'll end up, but I saw a great, now I'm not going to remember it, but I followed some lone female hiker who hiked all the way from the Great Divide. No, there's a trail in the United States that goes along the spine of the mountains from somewhere in New Mexico all the way up to the Canadian border, and then it transitions into the Great Divide Trail, I think it is, in Canada. And it goes all the way up past Banff.
Oh.
And this person was doing this thing. And I followed it because they were doing a vlog at the end of every day.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of hard to believe that anybody does that stuff. And this is some young woman, and she's just ripping along. She's got about a 30-pound pack maximum, and she's out just by herself in the middle of nowhere. And I just found the logistics of it, like camping. How do you do your camp every night? You're walking. She was doing like 30 miles a day kind of thing, which is crazy.
How does she do her vlog?
Well, she was recording that and editing it before she went to sleep at night.
Yeah, but how did she
Well,
power
connectivity
stuff?
was a problem. She was frequently, the entries would say, I'm not going to be able to send stuff for a while. You may have noticed that my location is not really coordinated with where the vlog was taken.
Yeah.
It's because I need to get to a place where there's actual internet coverage before I can post
upload
the
it.
stupid
Yeah.
thing.
But she's got to be carrying extra batteries. She's using a laptop to edit.
Well, and she did one post where she showed the logistics of preparing all of this food that she was going to need. And she was putting it into all these different boxes and sending all these boxes to these different little places all over the place so that she doesn't have to carry very much with her. But the logistics part of it to me was just fascinating. Like, how do you figure out, like, months in advance where you're going to be, how much of whatever you're going to be? And, a lot of it is cold water stuff, so you don't have to heat. You just open a pouch, stick water in it, mix it together, and eat it. Like, it's just the closest thing to just body fuel. Like, what pleasure can there be in that? I don't know, but
I think when you're hungry, it's surprising.
Yeah, and all of that stuff, just don't want to know. I don't want to be carrying fuel and lighting fires and having to put them out, all that other crap. I go to sleep at night, I get up in the morning, I stuff all this stuff into the pack, and I start walking. That's how I cover. Because I cover, I think it was like almost 4,000 miles.
I've been on a hiking trip and had Kraft mac and cheese and go, this is the best food I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, that was one of the...
Because you're just like, you had a big day and it tastes good.
It was actually one of the most important things I ever learned from Boy Scouts. Yeah, you learn first aid and knots and stuff. But yeah, we did a canoe trip up Slocan Lake. And we got to New Denver finally after a couple of days. And the last day we were going across the lake and into the wind and worrying about waves. And they made a big pot of craft dinner at the municipal campsite in New Denver. And it was the best thing forever. And I realized it's just clicked in my head. When I get this at home, if I ever get it, it's just whatever. But this stuff is just delicious.
Yeah.
And it was just because you're just starving, right? Anyway, the reason I mentioned any of that was that hiker had a great little speech that she gave in some post about, she was in the corporate world in tech or something, and she graduated and she started doing work, and she had this great, I'm going to have to look it up again and I'm making a hash of it here, but it was a remark about, I knew that I was going to have choices to make, and I knew that I had to not be tied to this education when these choices came up, because you have to do what you want to do or you're going to waste your life, basically. Right? And I really want Jenna to hear that, because she's going to have graduated, and I'm not sure this is what she wants to do. And she does need to do something that gives her joy if she can, So
Yeah.
that's a bit of an empty one, but because I don't have to.
No, I heard someone giving a counterpoint to that, because that's the whole line, isn't it?
Oh,
Do what you love.
yeah, no, there's real danger in that whole.
Yeah, really.
I mean, it's Cinderella. That's the Cinderella kind of life, right?
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is
like
some influencer who's managed to trick her viewers or his viewers into...
No, there is that. And I've talked to her endless times about how almost everybody I know kind of just fell into whatever they're doing. A couple of exceptions, probably here in this room. But most people, I think, they get a job because they need a job.
No, I just fell into what I do.
Oh, didn't you choose to go into computers? I thought you did.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm working as a laborer. One day I'm shoveling steel balls. They're 4-inch steel balls, right? And sometimes they'd give us bigger shovels. They're trying to...
that's going to work.
One day I took the big shovels. Every week or two, I'd take one big shovel and put it on the conveyor belt on its way into the mill, just completely destroy it, right? Because they're just...
The shovel.
Yeah, because
because a big shovel, they're 4-pound balls. You can only pick up so many 4-pound balls,
And it's kind of, in order to work a shovel well, you should be able to just go,
Yeah.
right? Not, I got to be careful about how many I put on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm shoveling steel balls, and I'm going, I think the 3 words are, "This is stupid." Why am I doing this, And I'd already done some extensive programming of a calculator.
Yeah.
I wrote a version of, Mastermind.
I remember.
Where instead of the computer thinking of the code and you guess, you think of the code and the computer guesses. So I was really proud of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like AI, but not. But anyway, so I knew that. So I just said to Dad, well, where should I go to get computer training? And he told me. So yeah, I just pretty well fell into that. I just happened to be, but did I do what I love? I suppose so. I did what I knew I would do pretty well at anyway.
Well, that laborer story is the same as me. And I would have gone into computers because that's what you did, but it wasn't available. So and I think what happens is you get a job, it pays the bills, and then you get a whole bunch of other stuff attached to you in life, like mortgages and kids. And now the priority is just to pay the bills, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have a job that's just tolerable, that doesn't make you want to tear your eyes out at the end of every day.
Yeah.
Pays well, stability, benefits, if you've got that stuff, you can put up with that nerdy boss or that boring work or those irritating coworkers because all the other benefits outweigh that. That's where I think nearly everybody ends up. And I just think, yes, that follow your joy thing. But the point I'm trying to make is that job that you can just tolerate doesn't necessarily have to be what you trained for. It just has to be what meets your needs. That's a better way to put it than makes you happy. It meets your needs. KJ, you're the exception because you actually did. You did the dream thing.
I dreamed of being a professional laborer.
You did not.
It was there. I mean,
same with all 3 of us. I thought I was going to be a professional laborer too.
There were some jobs that I discovered that I thought, whoa, you get paid for this, and
yeah,
and you're out there and
like in the tank rooms.
No, at Lornex.
Oh yeah,
we had to go up and drain a lake.
Yeah,
and I thought, oh, how do you do that? Well, you get 5-6 inch PVC pipe.
Yeah.
Culvert.
And you melt it together in sections, 16-foot sections or whatever. One end goes into the lake, the other end goes down to the creek, and it's a little bit longer, and you have this thing at the top where it's a valve, right? And you fill up one side, and then you let it go, and everything works. And I thought,
It's just a siphon?
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought, and the guy, the lead hand, I guess, because I think there's only me and him and another guy, he considered himself a professional laborer, and he was kind of do all these weird outdoor tasks at Lornex Copper, right?
Yeah.
There was and there was weird stuff. We had to figure out the bottom of the tailings pond, out in a rowboat and dropping little weights and
Yeah,
measuring.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
But they're sort of interesting jobs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God we're not digging something else today.
Well, so then what happened then? Why
then
aren't you still doing that?
Well, I went back to school, didn't I?
Why though?
I know, but no, I suppose if school failed, I can always fall back on laboring out there.
In our two cases, we were both doing labor jobs. In my case, I thought I was quite happy doing a labor job, sort of. Because basically, you put in your time at Cominco during the day, doing whatever, which generally wasn't too demanding. You got paid quite well for it. And then you had another 8 hours of consciousness that you could just do whatever wasteful, idiotic thing you wanted to do before you went to sleep. And that seemed pretty good to me. But the trouble with my job was winter. And so there were cool, interesting jobs to do in the yard gang in Tadnak, like go to the slag blasting shed in the winter because it's warm in there and you do interesting things. And one day I was out in the winter cleaning a track crossing, getting wet, soaking, cold, miserable. And the guy beside me had been doing this. He was 58 and he'd been with the company 35 years. And I just thought, I can't wait 35 years to get into the sandblasting shack. I have to get out of here and do something else. That was, and it kind of didn't matter. I honestly only wanted an inside job, just someplace where I wasn't out in the elements. That's it. That's all I was going for.
Well, I'm pretty sure that everything that I did was the laziest way to approach life.
Yeah, I think that's the same.
Like really,
I think that is the same with me.
I thought that was only me.
Well, no. If you think about it, though, it's.
But I think that's 90% everybody. They're just getting through their days, right?
But they paid us student loans and the grants, the BC grants when we were going to school. I seemed to have a lot of money, and I wasn't getting it from my parents.
Yeah,
right? I was saving. I don't think I was saving anything from Cominco when I worked. Maybe a bit. And for whatever reason, somehow I found out that, I like this acting stuff. And I must have been the same student loans going through Langara and grants. I actually had my truck at Langara. I mean, I was driving a vehicle.
I recall.
And
as I recall, it was 50-50. You'd get a $5,000 grant, a $5,000 loan.
Yeah. And then right out of Langara, I made little bits of money, right?
Yeah.
For something I really enjoyed, actually.
Yeah.
And then you luck into, they need theater actors for film. Oh, okay, I can do that too.
Yeah.
And then they're paying you more money. And I'm still being as lazy as I possibly can through all of this, right?
Yeah.
And still, to this day.
To this day.
And it's worked out rather well. I've kind of been semi-retired my whole life.
Yeah, but I don't, yours, in this room, I think yours is probably the exception. I've always said, too, to my kids, the people that go to work, the people that struggle to retire because they love their job so much are really rare, really lucky. Like if you have a job that you just look forward to going to every day, that's
really rare.
Very rare and really, really lucky because you really are having a quality life then, right? You're still having a quality life if you're just having your needs met. And your real actual life is the hours you spend outside the job.
Yeah.
But the ones who have them both, I think it's really rare. I just think when I was a kid, I struggled a lot with the whole question of, aren't I supposed to be happy? Like if I'm not deliriously happy, if I'm not just living the dream, making it, then I'm not doing it right. Well, no, not exactly. Not at all.
That's Uncle Tim asking if I had an air compressor. Speak of the devil.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Every year I try and make a little bit of an improvement to the stuff that I have for changing tires, because I'm still doing the winter tire, summer tire changeover myself.
Attaboy, RJ.
Good for you.
And last year I realized, oh wait, I have this tire repair thing that you plug into the 12 volt. You know, like it's one of those things, you plug it into the 12 volt, you got a leak in your tire, and it has this kind of rubber compound it sprays inside your tire.
Oh, yeah.
But also a compressor to air up your tire. And I realized, oh, wait, I can just use the compressor side to, well, after I change the tires that I just put on are normally a little bit low, right?
Yeah.
They're usually, in fact, about 6 pounds low. So, so I just use a little 12 volt thing to save the trip down to the gas station, you know, where you find out that their compressor's broken and you have to move to the next gas station. And
but I'm stuck on, you have actually got a device that will spray the glue inside your tire for you?
Yes.
Because I always go to Crappy Tire and buy a can of Fix-A-Flat. And it's exactly that. It's just glue in a compressed can. You stick it into the, you attach it to the air. You let the air out of your tire.
Yeah.
You attach this can to your air intake.
Do you let the air out of the tire?
Yeah.
Well, and then you have to use a compressor to finish it.
No, you press the button on the can and it injects. The can is supposed to pump the tire up. And
a can does not have enough air to pump a whole tire.
Well, in my experience, you are correct. But that's what it says to do. And so
that's weird.
I usually do that. And then you got to drive the car a little bit to spread the glue around on the inside of the tire.
Okay, well, the way this one works is you don't let all the air out of your tire.
Yeah.
Although presumably the air is all out of your tire, isn't it?
Depending on how severe.
Because it's got a leak. And
Like right now I'm looking at a slow leak in a tire where you lose 6-7 pounds a week. It just means you got to go every week to spend $2.50 at the compressor that doesn't work or isn't available or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just think, Now what I did is I bought those, it's like a jump start kit. It's a little small battery and you charge it up using a USB cord.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it's a 12 volt battery and it has a little motor, a little compressor motor that just works its little heart out to get up to 30 pounds, but still. And it's also got jumper cables so you can jump your car, and it's got a light on it too. And they sell them, Crappy Tire sells them, Costco sells them. They're just little roadside emergency type things. No, just carry that with me.
Well, that's what this is, really. It's just got the additional feature of having
It's the glue that I'm fascinated by, because one can of that Fix-A-Flat costs $25. So what does the glue come in? Like what?
Well, I think, that's interesting. I've always assumed it's just a single use.
Yeah, it is.
Even though it's ongoing, can act as a compressor, can always be a compressor for you.
So you think that kit has one repair in it and that's it?
Maybe not. Maybe it's got enough of that material that you could do 3-4 tires before it's done. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is you don't think it's refillable? The glue supply is
never really thought of it that way, but yeah.
Because if it was, then I want to talk to you because...
Well, speaking of drainage and tires, I can now put these two together. Boys came out and they got the electric, the
electric wheelbarrow.
Well, they come out the back here and say, "You got any lighter fluid?" I said, "What?" "Oh, we got a flat tire." So I've never even heard of this before. There's no tube in the tire, so they line it all up. It's gone flat for some reason. It's not a leak. It's sort of popped off or something.
They've lost the bead.
They lost the bead. So he just scooches lighter fluid around the rim and then puts a match to it and goes whoop, and the tire just fills up like that. I've never seen that before.
I have seen that. It's hit and miss a little bit.
Yeah, well, they did. It took three tries, but
I've seen the Vice Grip Garage guy do that, and this guy.
Well, you guys are going to have to describe it a little bit more. I have no idea how it works.
Tire goes flat.
Yes.
Deforms because it's flat. Right?
Yeah.
The deforming means you can't just attach a bicycle pump to the side of the tire and pump.
No, because it's tubeless and the air will just come out.
So you got to get that. You somehow got to make it so that the bead, where the place where the tire and the rim meet, is called the bead.
Yep.
And it has to be attached and it has to be airtight in order for the tire to even accept air.
Yeah, I understand that part.
So if you put a bunch of something flammable, like say lighter fluid, all around the bead.
Gotcha. And at this point, the rubber is kind of up against the bead.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not forming a
almost
seal. It's not forming a seal
Yes.
Yes.
yet. Yeah.
And so when you touch off that lighter fluid, there's a little explosion.
Yes.
Goes whoomp, and the explosion blows the tire back onto the bead from the inside because that lighter fluid leaves flammable volatile fumes inside the tire as well. So when you ignite it, the lighter
It just gives a
fluid
kick, doesn't
fumes that are inside the tire are ignited and blow the tire out
Oh, yeah.
onto the rim at the same time as
It's
they
aired up.
largely inflate the tire with
Right.
burned gas, right?
They must have had a little tiny compressor.
Yeah, they probably had more to
fill
put
it
more
up.
in after.
Yeah. But it did.
It
Interesting.
partially inflates it. But the thing is, I mean,
Maybe that's how they initially inflate them at the factory, right? Like, how do you get it inflated the very first time?
Well, you could just suck the tire out with a big sucker or something.
well, and they probably have an air supply that does a lot more
Right.
volume than what
Oh,
you and I
yeah,
have
like
access to.
kicks it, hammers it,
Yeah.
kind of like a flame would do, yeah.
But
Very interesting.
The warning is always probably don't make a habit of doing this.
Don't do this at home.
Well, like if you do too much, what happens? You know, like let's just say you just pour lighter fluid and just keep pouring. What happens? I
Not paying. You're on the phone. You just
yeah.
squirt.
Or let's say you were driving a 64 International and the stupid gas tank, which leaks, is right next to the tire, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you ignite the tire and now all of a sudden there's flames licking up the passenger side door. But your tire's okay.
Okay, guys, got any video reports? Any movies you've seen, series that you're pretty crazy about?
No, but here's this is KJ reports on his film activity.
All
I was
right.
sure that in The Bourne Identity, the first one, which is one of my favorite movies, I've watched it more than twice. I was sure Eddie Murphy was playing Mombasa or whatever it was. I said to Dill yesterday, Mombasa, it was Eddie Murphy, right? Oh yeah, because Eddie Murphy's he's got a new Netflix docu, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not Eddie Murphy. It's the guy, the black guy from Lost, who I don't even remember. The black guy from Lost.
I barely remember Lost. Never
I
mind.
barely remember Lost too. Well, that's that one. And then I watched for some reason The Sum of All Fears with Ben Affleck. Have you ever seen it?
Never heard of
Probably,
it.
but I can't remember.
Yeah,
the thing
yeah.
about it.
Well, it's he's some special nuclear accountant or something. Anyway, and it's quite an old movie. I think it's before Good Will Hunting, actually. But anyway, in the 6-Day War, Egypt and whatever attack Israel in
68, I think.
67.
68,
67.
yeah. So they put a nuclear bomb on an American plane and it goes over and it gets shot down, but the bomb, nobody knows where it's shot down, and the bomb disappears. And then 30, 40 years later, somebody digs up this bomb, they sell it on the black market, they bring it to Baltimore, of all places, and they're going to blow up the president. They get it into the stadium, and I'm thinking, so how does this all go? You know, they actually get it into a little vending machine, and like it's all working well. And then they set it off like it's a big football game, and the president's there for whatever reason. The president hears about it, or like Ben Affleck says, "Get out of there," and he barely gets out. But they blow up the stadium with 50,000 people and a quarter mile around. And I thought, whoa! Like I just thought. Just the idea of that was just really extreme. Maybe it wasn't in those days, but
It is too, because typically in those movies, there's been a bunch of that kind of theme, right? Where the bad villain is going to kill a whole pile of innocent people somehow, including their actual enemy. There's been a bunch of them. Like, usually they are flying over a stadium to do stuff, but
Independence Day has that kind of aspect to it, right?
I can't remember. But usually, yes. Usually the bad guy dies and everybody lives.
yeah, I
And
was
in this
just,
case, the bad guy
And
kills the president lives, but everybody else dies.
and it's right in the middle of the movie too, so there's still lots of movie left. Right, I was just quite shocked about that. Anyway, it was rather
pretty
enjoyable.
That's pretty fun.
The movie.
We saw The Accountant 2, speaking of Ben Affleck.
Oh, I really enjoyed Accountant 1.
Yeah, The Accountant 1 was great. I'd heard that Accountant 2 maybe wasn't quite up to that standard, and maybe it wasn't, but it's still a fun movie to watch. quite good.
Is it in the theater you saw that?
I think we saw it maybe on Netflix, the service that Skin says there's nothing on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll look that one up.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, he plays the same character again.
Yeah.
And his brother has a key role. I don't know if you remember. Well, we won't do any spoilers anyway. Have you seen The Accountant too, Skin?
I believe I have, yeah. And it is pretty good. And it is on Netflix. Thank you for invalidating all my remarks. Because that's your job here, is to invalidate. Pretty soon, I'll just disappear.
Just as a cast-off comment after your 10-minute segment.
Yeah, I'll be sitting here and you'll just see an empty chair, even though I'm actually sitting here. No, it is pretty good. And it's the same with John Wick, right? Like, I think they've got all the John Wicks on there. They're worth watching.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah, just things get blowed up real good.
Just I like when I watch those, I like to pay attention to how long each cut is, like because the camera will stay on him while he's doing all these crazy kill moves, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very impressive.
Yes. Yeah, I do that same sort of thing because we've all seen those backstage. At the end of every Jackie Chan movie, they play a string of sort of bloopers where Jackie's stunts go wrong.
Right. Yeah.
But it gives you a really good insight into how much heavy-duty, detailed choreography goes into those fight scenes.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And so then, you start thinking, how many moves did they have to memorize and carefully execute? And you look for the cuts.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll dip into those John Wicks because I think it's probably too violent for me, but maybe...
They are.
Oh, is there such a thing? You just watched 50,000 people get aced and you didn't mind that?
That's why I was shocked. I wasn't ready for that.
They're over the top violent.
They're way.
You have to, but if you think of them in terms of the choreography and that kind of stuff,
well, I just looked at your
or you can do a body count. That's another
bore holes into the earth video, and up on the just up on the side on YouTube there was the Matrix. The making of the move where he dodges the bullets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bullet
and
time.
how the two writers had been working on this movie for, like, it's sort of fascinating, that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But they said, if you guys know the shot, but the camera goes around him as he's going back like this. And, you actually get behind the bullets. The bullets are coming right at the camera, and it goes around. And they're storyboarding this, but they're trying to sell it to start. And they say, you can't make a camera move that fast. So they said they compared it to the first picture of a horse.
Yeah.
And they just set a camera and tripwire so that the horse went through and tripped all the little click, 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 120 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they set up like a semicircle of cameras so that they could do this camera sweep. This is a test thing. I only got 5 minutes into this little film, but there was too much distance between these cameras. And I thought, that doesn't even make sense to me. Anyway, it was a little bit fascinating thing. Now we can go back to the whole.
I just can't believe that's how they did that, as opposed to just faking CGIing the whole thing.
Well, I think you could do so much. The way they were testing it, so-and-so's on a rope so he can lean back in front of a green screen so he can do that movement leaning way back.
Yeah.
But still, it had to look like the camera was going around. And I don't know why.
Holy Dinah.
Anyway, look it up, you guys.
Yeah.
Listeners, look that one up. The making of the Matrix move.
Now, boreholes, RJ, this is yours.
I found it a fascinating video. I sent it to you guys, and I haven't thought a thing about it since, but it is possible, big possibility for energy independence.
Yeah, I wanted to look at it at the end. He says, well, they're just about to go into field testing, right? And they really hadn't quite done that. And how old was that? It was like 8 months ago or something, that video?
I guess so.
I bet they've done something since then. Or whether or not somebody recorded it is another thing.
Yeah, so this video is one where they are working on a technique of boring holes deep into the earth, like kilometers deep. What is it? They want to go like
7, I think.
Yeah, I think 7. I think
7 kilometers down. And the biggest problem with normal drilling techniques is that the deeper you get, the harder the rock is, the higher
Wow.
the temperatures are.
Yeah.
And then at those higher temperatures deep into the earth, it starts just breaking down the drilling equipment.
Yeah, and when you're that far down, it takes so much time to get it out and replace it and put it back in. If you're talking about a kilometer long,
Yeah, and to back up even further, the whole point of this discussion about why do you want to drill really deep is because the temperatures get high down there, so you can actually get geothermal heat
And
into
you need-
people's houses.
yeah, and you need
Like in Iceland, where they,
it's on the surface.
Yeah, it's close to the surface. So in Iceland, they just send a thing down, 500 feet or something.
Yeah.
And
They don't even have to do that. They just build the plant on top of a surface
Yeah.
exit and start boiling water, right?
Yeah.
Like that. I think that's the deal is you use the heat to generate steam to run electrical generation turbines.
Right,
Right.
that's exactly.
And you need 384 degrees to get water to the steam.
Yeah.
That it has to be that hot in order to do this
Yeah,
most efficiently.
Superheated, I believe.
Yeah,
steam.
and so I think you need 6 or 7 kilometers down to get that temperature in
Right.
in the Earth's mantle.
So you want to drill really deep, and using hardware drills with little diamond studs and whatnot doesn't do it. So this person is using what kind of beams? Ionization beam, some kind of laser-like thing?
Microwave.
Microwave?
Microwaves.
microwave.
So these directed microwave beams to liquefy the rock.
Yep.
And then there's a way to get that liquid back up along the
Well, just-
outside.
It turns into a gas.
Yeah, they vaporize it.
Gas vaporizes
Vaporize,
it.
that's the word.
Yeah. And then they've done these tests where he's pretty good, this guy, of saying we've done these tests that may not prove out in the real world, but in our test bed, if you will, it's worked pretty well.
Yeah, they showed. So they talked about using this stuff, and the advantages are it creates a sealed. It almost creates a pipe into the rock, right?
Yeah.
Because it vaporizes the rock, and the vapor then condenses or
It's almost
forms rock along the edges of the hole that have been made.
a very smooth rock.
So you get a smooth hole. You can curve it, which is really important, I guess.
Yeah.
As opposed to just going straight down. Like the whole video opens with a shot of the world's deepest borehole, and it's just straight shot. It might be 7 kilometers. I can't remember. But as they do it, the guy you talked about, he's showing us the various kinds of rocks. They have to fine tune the ionization energy that they use to match the kind of rock material they're going through, because different levels give you different melted rock product, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they just sort of think if they can get this thing off the ground, then they can tap, because I guess pretty much anywhere on the Earth's crust, after, like you say, 7 kilometers or something, you're at such heat
Yeah.
that that's going to be very sufficient to power your generator.
So
Then
they're
they
saying-
figure they would do it actually at the generator sites that exist now.
They could do, yeah.
And
Right.
because it's
Because they've got all the surface infrastructures there.
and everything's just so
Yeah.
far down, right?
Ready to go. Yeah.
No, I really thought that was an interesting article, and it's high hopes, because I think it might have arisen because we were talking about nuclear energy in here.
That's right. Yeah.
And so then here's an alternative to where we don't have to worry about nuclear waste. What I wondered is, so you got to boil water to make steam, and the steam drives turbines, the turbines create electricity, and everybody's happy. But if you used boiled water to power the entire Earth's electricity needs,
Yes.
how much water vapor would you be emitting into the
Right.
atmosphere?
Yeah.
And what happens if you saturate the atmosphere with that much water? Anything? Maybe nothing. But it was I'm such a negative person. It was the first thing that popped into my mind. Is like, well, what happens?
Well, there's that. And the other aspect is what happens if you have to let up so much heat from the Earth's core that you're actually affecting global warming as well?
Well, or you cause the Earth's mantle to contract a little bit. Even that, that seems unimaginable to me. But
Yeah, it seems
geez, it was fascinating though, and I hope they make it work, because it would be, you can't build a nuclear reactor at the site of every coal-powered generation plant, I don't think.
No.
And there's just so many advantages to just using water and not using fuel to boil the water. I mean, geez.
And then there was that little table about 2/3 of the way through talking about the costs of the various different kinds of energy.
Yes.
And I think this, if it works out, this is a very low cost
Yes.
form of energy. I mean, once you've drilled your hole, it's almost free.
Yes.
It's just
but-
operating costs to keep the turbines all
Yes,
working.
and I really like that about that video too, is they provided this table where they took into the account the enormous costs of drilling those holes and developing this technology. And they said, okay, so that counts, same way as building a plant counts and finding coal.
Yeah, over
counts.
the graph is over the expenditure over a period of time.
Yeah, and I can't remember whether the time was the expected life. I think it was just over a period, like 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I did notice about the graph is it didn't include hydroelectric. Like, I don't know how much, what percentage of the Earth's power is generated hydroelectric, but here in BC, we're so used to it, that's top of mind.
It must be the lowest cost.
It's got to be.
Although the development costs for dams are just massive.
Yeah, and that's-
Site C. Nobody ever talks about Site C, but it's still underway, right?
Yeah, I believe it is, yes. I don't know
Well, it's
where
producing.
it's at. Yeah.
Oh, it's producing, and they're done building?
Yep.
Oh, wow. How does that happen? How is it that they have just major news cycles about stupid stuff, and then something as huge as Site C being powering us, it doesn't even get a blip because it's done, right?
Yeah. It's not tragic.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know. It's the next shiny object for us. We just, it really is.
Yeah. Anytime you see a news item about some controversy about something that's about to happen, and then you go, okay, well, I want to find another news item about the completion of it.
Yeah,
and see
what
how
was
it
the
went.
upshot?
Crickets.
Yeah.
There's nothing in it when something is successfully completed.
I bet you could go look and find out stuff about Site C, but I bet you it just didn't get any traction in the news cycle.
Yeah. Pretty
Just
surprising.
Other more fascinating things going on. But yeah, using the Earth's heat to generate power was a cool idea. I did like that video, though.
The beam they use in fusion generators, and that's all contained. They heat up whatever's in there. I'm sure that's how it starts out.
How they get the whole fusion reaction started.
What
Just
this
kick it
beam,
off.
the fusion generators, they need, this beam is very particular, and the guy says, in our case, it doesn't have to be so particular.
Right.
It has to be very specific where it's hitting in the fusion business.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, but
I had it in my head that if you put enough radioactive material together and you did something small, and really small, like fired a bullet into it, that would disrupt enough neutrons and electrons and protons and everything
that it just goes for
to start a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, fusion's super difficult. Any kind of experience they have with fusion so far has been little tiny.
Yeah. Anyway, well,
Last
rewatch
three-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That might be an idea.
So I don't know what got me on it, but I once again wanted to watch the Lone Wolf and Cub movies.
Oh, I know what got you onto it.
What got me onto it?
I sent you a note saying you should watch Last Samurai Standing if you want to get a little Diagoro vibe.
Oh,
Remember?
Yeah.
Last Samurai Standing is about a 7-episode Japanese drama, and it's just full of people getting slashed up with samurai swords.
Yes.
And it has a little flavor because our protagonist decides that he must protect a young girl.
Yeah.
So he's got a relatively defenseless sidekick as they go through this whole
Oh, right. Yeah.
this
Yes.
whole samurai thing. And I sent it to Rich saying, this is fun. I think somebody gets decapitated in the very first episode, and it'll give you the Daigoro vibe. So that's what it was.
And what did you originally say? A lone wolf?
Lone Wolf and Cub, Sword of Vengeance. There's 6 in the series, but I read an entire graphic novel, a manga series called Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh.
Whole idea is the lone wolf is Ogami Ito, and he is
You can't say it like that. You have to say, Ogami Ito.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tried to do that, but anyway, he is the executioner for the shogun anytime the daimyo, like the lords, get a little bit too uppity for the shogun's taste,
Off with their head.
And
Nice.
And their
he's
whole
the
clan.
amazing sword guy who comes up and he feels a deep kinship with the people who he executes. And he keeps a shrine at his house to apologize to the spirits and explain that he had to do it as part of the honor or whatever,
His lord ordered him.
Exactly. Well, he gets set up by one of the other clans to make it look like he was dishonoring the shogun. So, he gets fired from his job. He's supposed to commit seppuku, but instead he decides to walk the path between heaven and hell and offer his services as an assassin to collect enough money to be able to, get his good name back and
Nice.
something like that.
Sorry, so this was a graphic novel. Is it now something?
Well, so in 1972 in Japan, they started these movies. So I watched the first movie made in 1972, which has great fidelity to the graphic novels. It's pretty fun to watch. The guy that plays Ogami Ito is a little bit overweight.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a pretty good actor, and it turned out that he was a 4th Dan black belt. So I guess that's that black belt and then 3 levels up from that. So that's why they kind of chose a guy who could act and who could actually do. And the choreography is pretty fun to watch. It's pretty great, like the big sword swoops and the, a single shot where he's taken out 3 or 4 different guys at once. And some of it's kind of artistic license. His swing, you could tell that it would not really be close enough to the actor to kill him, but you have to kind of believe that it is. So that's kind of beautiful. And then there's these just jokey, like they're not meant to be jokes, but it's just ridiculous. He sends his sword into somebody, pulls the sword out, and now the blood spurts out. And it spurts out like 20 feet in a parabola.
Yeah, it's under about 70 pounds per inch pressure. Like it's just whooshes out of
So it makes you smile, but it's still pretty fun to watch.
So there was just one of these movies?
There's 6 of them. And so I've watched the first one, and I order it from the library, the DVD, pick up the DVD, watch the movie, and then return it.
And when was the last one made?
I think they probably were made in a fairly quick succession.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe 3-4 years for the 6 movies. But I also think that there was a TV series made after that apparently was quite good. So I'm going to try and seek out that TV series.
Like 2-hour movies?
Yeah, an hour and 30 minutes, maybe at most.
Oh, okay.
So it moves along quite well. Great fidelity. It gives this first movie gives the backstory, to the stuff that I kind of mentioned, that he was the executioner and got set up and all that. The guys that want to kick him up, they're police, right? And so they come and find him dishonoring the shogun's colors, his tartan, if you will. So it's all, and then whole episodes. Like one comic, maybe 30 pages long, becomes a 45-minute episode in the movie. So they got a lot of material that they had to choose from. It was good. So yeah, I can't put a link to where you can view it other than go to the library and check out Lone Wolf and Cub, Sword of Vengeance. Of course, I got it. I got a little server at home that I just keep ripping these shows and loading them on. So. And then I've been using Letterboxd, which is a service where you you watch a movie, you just key it in and you put your little review. I just use it for just a record of what I've seen. And I thought, I'll use Letterboxd. I wonder why I've never used this. And I go in and it turns out that I've already recorded 8 movies, some of which I do not recognize at all. Like the whole point of Letterboxd, in my mind, for me, is that, how the thing is that you decide to watch a movie and then...
Oh, I've seen... Yeah.
You're half an hour in, you go, I've seen this. Like, how could that be?
Yeah.
Like, it's so memorable. While you're watching it, it's so intense, and yet your mind just lets it go afterwards. Right?
Well, it's really fun because it usually doesn't take half an hour. Usually within the first 10 minutes after the credits, you realize, oh, geez.
Yeah, it's usually pretty quick.
But it would be fun to think about what causes some of them to take 45 minutes. And sometimes you go way into the movie before you recognize that you've seen it.
I've done that with at least 2 movies.
Yeah, same. So have I. And you sort of think the fun question would be, is that a quality of my mind or of the movie's composition that takes me so long? Because most of the time, like the credits roll, the opening scene, you get the feeling. The next scene, you think, yeah, now I got, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
But I'll still watch often because you get the enjoyment out of it anyway.
Sometimes I do, but usually not so much. And speaking of stuff I got to watch again, I got to go watch Master and Commander again pretty soon.
Yeah, I do want to watch that. It's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
I have the DVD.
Oh, good
I'm
for
happy
you.
to say. Oh. Yeah. I got it for Christmas years ago, and I rediscovered it in my recent exploration of my place. Yeah, The Last Samurai Standing is quite fun, too. It's a series, and this isn't for the podcast either, but the premise is, at some point in about 1880 or so, Japan decided it needed to transition from an imperial power with a samurai class that powered it to a more modern nation. Mm-hmm. So the premise here is that somebody in the ruling part of Japan decided that what they need to do is get rid of the samurai class, like kill them all. So the samurai, first of all, are kind of out of business because the now Japanese Imperial Army uses guns and cannons and stuff. They don't want guys with swords. They can't get anybody near anybody with a gun if you're using a sword. But these guys are trouble. These samurai are just lethal guys that live to this lethal code. So they decide to eliminate them, and they decide that what they will do is have a big contest where they give an unimaginably large prize to the survivor of this contest. And the contest starts in one place and travels a long ways through the country and ends somewhere else. And you need to kill guys, other samurai, to get badges, and you need so many badges to cross each checkpoint. So people are desperate. They're starving all over Japan. And so people that are not qualified, they're not really samurai, they're just farmers and stuff, are going into this thing. And they're kind of the cannon fodder for the real samurais that are also in it. It's very fun.
Sounds good. Yeah. I've got it on my list. I saw I already added it to my list. Guess when you told me about it.
We made it. We learned some stuff. We had some laughs. I could just can this outro for every episode. That's all we ever do here. If that is your jam, as the kids used to say 1,000 years ago, you should just keep listening, because there's a million of these episodes, and there'll be a million more too. But this one's over. So take care of yourselves until next time. We sure love hearing from you, so let us hear from you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye now.